10 from the SAT number 9, April 2017. And 10 says, as used in line 72, impression most nearly means. So we have a word choice problem. We should go back to 72. We're going to look for the word impression and kind of just figure out what it means in context and maybe what's a good word to replace it with. So here is the word impression. And this is basically Sandeep describing the room that he's in. He's talking about the difference between poverty and austerity. And so he's describing the room. He says, despite its barrenness, right, despite the fact that it's empty, the impression that it gave was of austerity rather than poverty. So we're trying to figure out what this word impression means. And I think in context, it's sort of saying, despite its barrenness, its emptiness, that the impression it gave, or basically the way that the room looked, or the way that the room felt, or the idea that the room conveyed was of austerity rather than poverty. And I really think it's kind of like just the way that the room looks. And this is for Sandeep. So we want an answer choice that will say the impression is basically how it appears to one, or how one views the room, or how one feels about the room. So anything about that could mention it. So A says appearance, which I think kind of makes sense, right? The appearance of the room was one of austerity rather than poverty. That could work. I think we can keep that one. B, belief. I don't know if belief makes too much sense if we plug it in. This is basically saying the belief it gave was of austerity. It's just weird to try to understand what it would mean for the room to give a belief. I don't think that makes too much sense. The imitation that the room gave, it doesn't really seem like there's any sort of like imitation or copycat or mockery or any resemblance of one thing to another when he's talking about the impression here. So I don't think that's right. And then recollection would only sort of make sense if he's remembering, right? The recollection the room gave, it is stirring a memory for him, which is not really the case. So I think appearance really is the best option. It's just talking about the way it appears to him, the way it seems to him. So I think that A is our correct answer for question